invalid data. In some cases, this is also related to throughput. For example, you have a 5 Mbps line. So you should not be able to use more than 5 Mbps. This is also part of monitoring, so that you cannot use more than 5 Mbps. You should not be able to use a bandwidth of 6 Mbps or 7 Mbps. And so those are the things that need to analyze the traffic, so that in some cases, in terms of like mobile bandwidth, they have a limit, right? So 7 days you can use up to 2 gigabytes, right? That means you need to continuously monitor the traffic and count the total payload, so that you can bill the users actually. So there are different reasons why you need to do it. So there are some tools that you can use. TCP dump is Linux-based tool. So this is what we're going to use in this session. Wireshark, T-Shark, these are Linux. Wireshark actually has both Linux UI and Windows UI as well. So this is more like visualization tool. So in the back end, this is basically using T-Shark or TCP dump. So these are very stable solutions or stable tools. So you can virtually analyze them visually. I think in the morning you saw some screenshot how Wireshark can capture the packets. And from the protocol wise, you can actually divide each field how each protocol is working. From the protocol basis, for the CB protocol in different layers of protocol, they can parse the whole packet and show you the output. So in this session, we will not show the visual part. We'll show you the command line part. I think because it's more efficient in terms of capturing data, and for analyzing data, I think it will be more easy. So TCP dump, this is a Linux-based tool. It's available in every distribution. It's available in Ubuntu, CentOS, even Red Hat distribution. And this is a free tool, so there is nothing, no license fee and anything like that. So it allows user to intercept and display TCP IP and other packet being transmitted or received over the network. So one thing I think we need to understand here, the first thing that if I am capturing here, I will have access to my data, that data that is coming through my network interface. Okay? But if you can run, there is option to run this in the router as well. So if you run this TCP dump in the router, that means you can have access to all the packets from all the users in the network. Okay? So that is very, so in this session what we'll do, we are going to run this through a server. So we'll have access to the data only for that server. Okay? But there is option if you run this in a network, in a router, you can actually have access to all the data from the network. And this is for, what we're going to do today is for LAN only, like Ethernet. In the wireless mode, there is option to capture data in the broadcast. So if you are connected to a Wi-Fi point, you can actually capture data for all the users that are under the same Wi-Fi point. You don't have to plug it in with the Wi-Fi router. You can just, from the same laptop, you can capture all the data from all the users that are connected in that Wi-Fi router. So TCP dump captures all the data. It also, from the binary data, it decodes the data into hexadecimal or ASCII, and it gives us, readable output in terms of system. So to install TCP dump, I think it's very straightforward. So first we can check dpkg -i left TCP dump. So this will, if TCP dump is installed, it will show you the information, what version is available in the system. And if it is not available, we can install it in apt-get for Ubuntu, apt-get install TCP dump. So it will automatically install the whole thing. If you're using CentOS like system or Red Hat, instead of apt-get we have to use yum. So yum -y install this. So these are in the Linux distribution repository. So it will automatically install into the system with all the libraries. So it's quite straightforward. So if it's not available in your system, you can use this to install.
So using Linux, or you can do it in Windows?
So for this one we will be using the Linux, but for Windows there is option to use it as well. But so for workshop in the morning session, there is a link there. You can just search for workshop. It comes with graphical interface. You can use that as well. And also I think Workshop has a terminal mode in the Windows as well that you can use.
Actually in Windows you can install Ciguin and you can run this.
You can also Ciguin is like, for if you want to use the Linux software into the Windows, there is an option called Ciguin, SYGWIN. Also CY. So you can also use that. But I would say if you want to really use it, you should use Linux systems. It gives you more flexibility into all other tools that is connected.
GCP and Word both use same weekend.
Yes, the same library they are using the same library.
Same.
So Workshop like more visual, if you want to just visualize, understand what is happening. But if you want to capture, analyze, process, then you have to do it in large scale. So in those cases, the visual may not help too much. So I think at this point, I think we can log into the system. So we will be using Putty. I think we used it in the yesterday. So the IP address is 172.16.4.132. Yes. So everyone can log in now with their Putty. I think everyone has a username and password. If you do not have, I think maybe can help you with the username and password. So the IP address is 172.16.4.133 and the port number is 22.
So whatever the issue is, we have provided the user name and password, like user something, and the password is like DCNDS at something, and this was provided to everyone through mail. So if anyone needs any assistance regarding this or forget or cannot recall, then you can contact with us and we will share the user ID or password.
So now you can see once I'm listening to the public interface. So it's using the public interface to wget means you're opening getting the website from the server. So because there is HTTP packet, so now we can capture this packet. Okay. So you can see there is no packet right now. That means there is no HTTP traffic going on. But as soon as there is some traffic, it will be captured. So like this, for any particular protocol, we can capture data from here. So we can do this as source or destination as well. So we can define the port must be as the source port. We can define this has to be the destination. If you do not say source or destination, the port can be anywhere. It can be the source or it can be the destination. Also, we can define the range of the port. That means instead of just listening to one particular port, we can define the range 53 to 80. That means you are listening to 53, 54 up to 80. So all the ports we can listen at the same time. Okay. So let's try HTTPS. So this is 443, and this is very similar to HTTP. So only the difference in the port number is instead of 80, it is the port number is HTTPS. So for HTTPS, even though this is so let me first capture. So we will say 443. Then we have to use a HTTPS site. So let's try google.com. So this should initiate an HTTPS traffic between this server and the Google server. So if I look at the traffic, you can see there are some HTTPS packets are there. Okay. And as you can see, even though we cannot see what's inside because this is secure, we can still able to see the IP address and port number and all those things. So this is the metadata that is available even for HTTPS now. Okay. Any questions so far? Yes.
Is there any way that we can see the inside of HTTPS packets?
No.
If I have the key, then also I can encryption.
If you have the key, if you have the key, you can.
Which software I can use this?
I don't think you can. I think HTTPS it uses SSL library. So what happens for every session there is a unique new key. It's not a fixed key. So whenever I say you are now browsing google.com, there is a session key. If you go to the site again, like 5 minutes later, there will be a new key. And it is maintained, if you are using browser, that means it is maintained by the web browser itself. So the first thing you have to have the key first. So like if you use like wget, that what we used here. Let me I can show you. So this is the response that we receive. Okay, and basically, even though you know this is like home page of Google, if you open it in the browser, you cannot see it because it is encrypted.
Actually, we do not use browser. We use our custom client.
So if you use your custom client, then you just, I think you have to use the SSL library. So whatever library that you are using to initiate the session.
No library, we build the library. I mean, we bypass SSL. We don't use SSL, we use our custom encryption algorithm.
But you have to talk to the other party, right?
Other part also our part. Both part is our. We want to see the traffic, how, what is the Google part. No, we are not contacting with Google. The server is also our, the client is our. We need to follow that track.
So what is asking? We are providing the information. The server is submitted by us. That is also in that case, can we?
You're saying if somebody else can see it in the network, or
I'm the owner. I want to follow the IP packets what it is.
So what I understand, so at every point you have to capture the packets, right? And if you have the key, then you can, of course, you should be able to detect it. So depends on whether you have access to the key at every point. So if you have the key, there should not be any problem.
Is there any software there?
So as I said, so you're saying you implemented the whole thing, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, you have to decrypt it using your own software, because if it is your custom protocol, there should not be any other software. But if you're using like like AES or RSA, there is software to decrypt as long as you have the key. So I think it's publicly there are many software implementation available. Yeah. So let's try next. So we can. So the port number, this is only for, as I said, DNS. This is highly used to keep track of what type of websites users are using. So only because for every, we put in the browser every name, there is a DNS request. So for every DNS request, there is a request response in the form. Up until recently, the DNS request was in plain text, no encryption. I think recently, last month, Google introduced the encrypted DNS protocol. So, but still there are, in most cases, if you filter DNS, you can actually see the data inside the payload as well, what resolution is going on. But I'm not sure how long it will take. So DNS servers are moving into the secured resolutions. That means even if we can capture the packet, we will not be able to see what's inside.
Not even IP. Not even the IP.
IP, we can see the IP address of the DNS server, but we cannot see what the user is actually requesting for, what URL user is giving. So if it is not secure, you can see, okay, user is looking for, say, Facebook.com, or is looking for Google.com. So, but if it is encrypted, then you cannot see anything inside. You can see the source, because I am the source, the DNS server is the destination. But you cannot see what's inside. So once that is done, we cannot use the DNS anymore. So if I look at here, let's say, so 53 is the port number for DNS. So there is no resolution going on. So if we try to initiate, so let's say we try Facebook.com. Okay. So you see, these are the packets, and we can see this is what we're looking for. We're looking for the IP address of the Facebook. That means based on this data, you can see what websites users are browsing. It can be any URL. And we can capture this data because this is completely unencrypted as of now, but slowly shifting towards secure DNS. So once it is secure DNS, we will not longer able to see what's inside. Then we'll only see the source IP and destination data, nothing else. But now we can see inside what's
If we use the hide IP software, then we send the request. Will it be able to capture the real IP, or it will show the fake IP in the software?
The software will capture packets for the last hop. If you send fake IP, it will show you the fake IP because it's getting from the packets. So, but if there is a network translation, it will show the net packets, net IP after the network translation. But by default, whatever in the IP packet, it will just show that whether this is valid or not. It will just show whatever in the packet. Okay, so the next thing is we can capture. So we also want to write these packets in the file so that we can analyze later. Okay. So the syntax is -w, then we have to give a file name. So if you do that, then we can, the file will be written in the system. So for, let's say we want to capture everything. So minus W, we can say
Any random name.
any random name.
With
The extension is pcap. Pcap is for packet capture. So once you do that, so this will continue until we use Ctrl C. So what this is showing, 29 packet has been received by this particular filter, and we can actually
Control C.
Ctrl C.
Oh, to close.
To close. Okay. And then we can read the file using -R. So if you use -R, then it will show all the packets that has been saved. So this will be useful if you want to capture data for long duration. So if you want to capture data and you want to save those, because if you do not save data, this will just continue. As long as you have the memory, it will be in the memory, but if the memory limit crosses, the old packet will be filtered out, will be dropped from the memory. So we can save it in the file, and this one we can analyze later on if necessary. So we can also use another command called cap infos. So this will show you the information of the packet that is in the file. So our file name is so it will show you using this particular command. It will show you some analysis, the number of packets, what is the file size, what is the data size, what is the duration of the capture, 3 seconds, the first packet captured timestamp, the last packet captured timestamp, so average packet size. So all these things will be shown by using this particular command.
Cap infos. Is this that command?
Yes, cap infos.
Why 2?
What?
Oh,
This is the
fine.
file.
This is fine.
The name you are using. So these are some commonly used filtering options. -C is if you want to, so you're using Control C to exit, right? So if you want to say, I want to capture 1,000 packets, so you can say -C to 1,000. So it will capture 1,000 packets, then it will automatically exit. So you don't have to use Control C. So -E is used to print the link level header, like MAC address. So MAC address is not automatically in there, but you can also print that. -N is, this is what I told you in the beginning. So if you, by default IP address is converted to DNS name. If you use -N, it will not do that. So it will just show you IP address. It will not do the DNS reservation. And -NN, it will not convert the protocol as well as the port number. So in the beginning we saw .SSH for port 20. So if you put -NN, it will show the port number instead of the protocol. Then -#, this will give you a particular number at the beginning. I think I can show this one. if you see there is a sequence number 20, 21, 22, 23 like this. So this helps how many packets you are actually capturing. So this the sequence number that will be saved into the file as well. -T if you want to remove the timestamp from the file. If you use T, it will create a delta. So what is the difference between current file and the previous current data and the previous data in like I think microseconds. If you use 4 P's, it will show timestamp as hours, minutes, seconds, and fraction of seconds since midnight. So there are various options there. So V for verbals. If you use capital A, it will show you in ASCII instead of in byte level. So we can also use X. So the packet will be in hex and also in ASCII form. So these are some of the commonly used format. So we can convert a particular PCAP file to CSV. So this is for further analysis. For example, you want to, so we have the data, but you want to use like some kind of database to do more analysis. So for using into the database, you have to first format it. So CSV is the format, so comma separated, then you can import it to your database. So this is one of the command. I think is available in the file that we will. So we're also providing this soft file. So this is basically, there is a command called tshirt. This is similar to TCP dump, but it has the option to convert to CSV. So we are saying this is our source packet, TCP.pcap. We are saying we want all the fields. The separator is comma. So in the output, the data will be comma separated. We want the header to be saved. We want the frame number to be saved. We want the frame time in relative. We want the IP source, IP destination, IP protocol, frame length, frame cap length, IP header length, TCP header length, and TCP flags. So all those things will be in the comma separated format, and it will be saved into the TCP CSV file. So let me first so let me create a file first. Sample pcap, and we can say minus C 1000. So it should save so it should save 1000 packet count, and it will save those in the sample pcap file. Sudo So it saved 1000 packets. So if we look at, we can read the file. So we can, if we read the file, we'll see all the 1000 packets. So this is the 1000 packets. So we can convert this to the CSV. So let me just copy this thing. So just change the input file name. So file name is sample, and this is sample.csv. So it's converted, so we can look into this. So you can see all those things are comma separated, and every data will be in the comma separated format. So you can actually, if you want to import, you can import it into database or any analytics software. Now because it is now formatted in, so you can do more analysis.
But there is no timestamp.
There is an option for timestamp.
This one.
So-
Timestamp.
So this is related. So this is the 0. The next packet came in like 4 milliseconds later. So this is related. But if you want to, you can also capture the actual timestamp as well.
So Google Analytics gives us same thing. Some statistics from where, which country.
Yeah, right. So that is based on the that is also based on traffic analysis. So, but that is for for their service. So you have to install their some plugins
Or
or
register
something.
plugin.
So that they can capture the data from.
Now we can program it. One major disadvantage of this procedure is to have variation in the data, we need to wait for a long time.
So this is we are saying for a single machine. Okay? But ideally, if you want to capture, you should you have to have this machine in a like router level or network level, so that you can capture data for all the people in it.
So
Then
data
you can-
size will be used.
Yes, yes. That's what, if you want to analyze, you have to have huge data.
So is there any more parameter that you can get, like language or other things? Or is this all the
No, so this is, just, I would say, beginning. So TCP-DAM has extensive, user documentation. There are many other options that you can use. So I'm just, giving you some introduction how we can use it at primary level. But there is some, as you said, size levels, protocol, filtering, there's some other options as well.
Another question, for example, a user connected with the server and he sent a file. This file may be divided into several parts, packet. Is it possible to recognize that he sent 5 files?
Yes.
Is there any indication here that this is the complete of one file?
Yes, so in the packet here, they're saying this packet is fragmented. So until the packet is fragmented, that means the host, there could be 10 packets. But as long as the fragmentation bit is on, that means there's more packets coming in. So you can, but you have to do it on your own. So you have to see the IP header fields. You can see the whole length of the packets. But you can get it.
How many files?
So one file it could be like 1,000 packets to send a whole file. You can capture the whole 1,000 packets, or you can isolate the whole 1,000 packets there.
You observing its sequence.
Okay, so we can identify the host only from a particular captured file. So if I use this one, so what we're saying, in T-shirt, we're saying this is our input, and we want to find out the host that is available in this file. So in this case, we have one host. So we have only one data, so from one host only. Okay. So if there are multiple hosts, do you have any sample? So we have a previous capture. So it shows all the hosts from this particular capture. So this will show you. So we have a previous capture. So in that particular capture, these are the IP address that we see. So all the IP address that is available in that particular capture, you can just without this is basically analysis. So using just this particular command. So -q -z host will give you a list of all the hosts. We can also see some other packet analysis as well. Then we can use HTTP statistics. So we can use HTTP stat. So let's try that. So in this case, I'm not seeing any HTTP packet. So, but we can, if there's HTTP data available, we can see the statistics there. So we can also see list of hosts with counts. So let me try that. This, from here we can also capture the MAC. So by default, the MAC address is not shown. So if you mention the -c part, it will show you the MAC address as well. Fixed number packet we already I think showed it. So this is connection establishment. I'm just going to skip this part. I'm going to show another part, I think, for HTTP. I think that is really important. So we can sort the data. Let me try this one. So this will show you all the IP addresses that is been captured, and this will be sorted in sorted order. So you can also use unique sort. You can find frequency as well. Number of unique IP used by the source. So I think we can all do this. So I think final thing I want to show is how we can sniff username password. So this is for HTTP sites. So if you want to capture TCP down, so you want to capture it from the public interface. And we want to capture from port 80. I think we want to save the file, right? So let me try to regulate them. So basically what happens, because Teletech is using regular, so they're using regular HTTP protocol, not secure. So whenever we try to log in with username and password, so that can be captured from the packet payload. And this is true for any HTTP website. Okay, so if you're logging into an HTTP website instead of HTTPS, that means the network people or the ISP, anyone that have access to the network, they can actually look into the data, that username and password that you're sending in. Yeah. So if you do not have any control, at least use different password compared to so web website has no login, so it's just information. But if you're using like secure information, so it should be some kind of HTTPS is a must. I think we have to stop here. I think we have